One of the things I love about what y'all are doing is you guys understand that the model of how we legislate, this takes time, right? And it takes thought, and it's a process. And so, no, we don't own, we don't have the House of Representatives right now, so we can't do exactly what we want to do. But by putting the ideas out there like you're doing in this task force report, you begin to socialize the ideas with your colleagues. And when that moment arrives, then you can actually act on it. I always think back to, how many times did Jack Kemp propose tax cuts, and the tax legislation that he did before it was enacted, in the 80s with Reagan. It was over and over again when they were in the minority that you had to push these kinds of ideas out there. So you guys in the minority are not sitting back. What you're doing is you're being proactive, and you're preparing for the day when we have the power again. But that does lead me to my first question, which is that it really actually it saddens me that this could be perceived as a partisan piece of legislation. Are there any signs that you see in the House that this issue is in fact potentially bipartisan?
Yeah, I think there is, and we have to hold out that hope. It's going to require us working together as Americans and across party lines to make sure that we can shore up our national defense and our national security strategy and make sure that American interest, American values, American leadership are projected around the world. We can't have so many internal squabbles on the things that we're dealing with outside the boundaries of our own country. And so, look, I'm an optimist always, Tim, and I do believe, and I know that we have many friends and allies on the other side of the aisle. We're in an election year right now. Of course, everything is hyper partisan and hyper emotional and all of that. But we're going to have to work through that, particularly after the presidential election cycle, with reasonable Democrats on the other side. There are still some. The moderates kind of keep their heads down right now, but those who understand how important this is and who agree with us. We took this report and we summarized it into five kind of bullet point summaries of what is entailed in this 65-page, 130 policy proposal manual that we produced. Let me read you these. You tell me if you think these sound overly partisan. Right? Point number one: develop a new strategy for countering America's top threat, communist China. Who could
Yep.
disagree with that? Two, roll back Russian aggression through a strategy of deterrence. Well, the Democrats are all on record saying that they're worried about Russia, right? So we should
Right.
get some allies. Number three, advance American interest in the Middle East by confronting Iran and the jihadi terrorist movement. Well, raise your hand if you disagree with that, right? Number four, maintain an international order based on American values. And five, outline a results-oriented approach to foreign aid and international diplomacy. Now, no one in the country, I think, would disagree with those objectives. What we do now is we drill down and we talk about specific means to those ends. And I think that we'll have some reasonable friends and colleagues on the other side who will sign on to some of this. And it's not our objective to wave a party flag on this. We're waving the American flag here, and that's the point. We've got to stand together on these important objectives.